Program is a work of broadcast students from the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland over the past week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their BCIT instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, disturbing trend of cat dismembering in Maple Ridge. Vancouver's COPE has ditched sitting councillor David Cadman, and a local animator has produced a video to entertain transit riders. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Anita Stankia. Cat owners in Maple Ridge are wary after several cats have been dismembered in a local neighborhood. Carmen Weld talked to one of the cat owners. Please be warned, there's graphic content in this nature.
Ridge Meadows RCMP are issuing a warning after 4 pet cats were brutally mutilated. Monica Seuss was the first to find her cat back in July.
When I approached, her, I just noticed that actually it wasn't the cat, it was just the cat's head and the collar placed nicely beside it. So I called the cops. They came by very fast.
RCMP are very concerned with the case and asked Seuss to speak with the SPCA.
Even take a look at it. They said, it's a coyote. They said we see this all the time. It's a coyote. They didn't even look at it. Just tossed it in the freezer, and said that they would get back to me, but nothing.
Seuss is frustrated the SPCA have not contacted her since.
It's my cat, and they placed it on my lawn in front of my house. That was what scared me the most. My son's 2, so he doesn't know anything, right? Yeah. He's just, asking for his cat, meow, meow, but he doesn't know. Yeah. I don't think he knows. Somebody who does this, they progress from doing animals to maybe kids or who knows what, right? Or larger animals and then kids, and I'm mostly concerned about the kids.
RCMP have no leads at this time, but confirm this is not the act of an animal, and they believe the incidents are linked. RCMP urge residents to keep their pets close to home, and if anyone has any information, to call the police at 604-463-6251. Carmen Weld in Maple Ridge for BCIT Magazine.
Runners at last weekend's Terry Fox run were subjected to a nervous few minutes after hearing gunfire. BCIT Magazine's Julia Montague joins us live. Julia?
Thanks, Anita. Charges have been laid against former CFL player and Port Coquitlam resident Adam Braidwood. Braidwood is scheduled to appear in court today to face charges relating to possession and discharge of a firearm. But this isn't the first time that Braidwood's had a run-in with the law. Braidwood spent his career with the Edmonton Eskimos, but was cut in the off-season after being charged with aggravated assault and forcible confinement. Anita?
Thanks, Julia. With under 2 months until Vancouver's next election, the left-leaning Coalition of Progressive Electors, or COPE, has picked its 3 candidates for council. And as reporter Rafferty Baker tells us, there are some surprises.
Ellen Woodsworth secured her spot on the joint Vision COPE slate, and while the upcoming campaign won't be easy, she's happy to have this hurdle behind her.
It's a great day. We had an enthusiastic, widely diverse membership turnout at the meeting, over 1,000 people.
But a surprise is COPE's other sitting councillor, David Cadman, failed to keep his spot.
I was totally shocked. I thought that David Cadman was going to be a shoo-in for another term. I thought the fight for the 3rd spot would be between R.J. Aquino and Tim Lewis.
But Aquino and former city councillor Tim Lewis grabbed COPE's other 2 nominations. Georgia Strait editor Charlie Smith says this time Cadman just wasn't hungry enough.
I think the issue was David Cadman never went out and signed up members. And people were quite blindsided. There was an assumption that David Cadman would win the nomination because he's been the most successful COPE politician of the decade.
He's done such a huge amount of work building this international organizations of cities around climate change, so I'm sure that he will have an exciting job waiting for him.
But COPE will face tough competition heading into November 19th's election. I'm Rafferty Baker in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up after the break, a community festival faces federal funding cuts. Hundreds lined up in Vancouver for Canada's newest reality show, and Braden Oates takes a look at the new operating system for iPhones.
They say if you want a wish to come true, never tell anyone. But there is one wish that can make the difference between life and death. And this wish can only come true if you tell someone. Please, let your family know you want to be an organ donor.
Welcome back. A 10-second animation playing on the platforms of the Canada Line has viewers reflecting on a dark day in Vancouver's recent history. Martin McMahon reports.
The riots that followed the Vancouver Canucks' loss to the Boston Bruins in last season's Stanley Cup Finals confused a lot of people and brought up a lot of mixed feelings. One local artist is trying to make sense of the situation.
This little 10-second project, this ode to Vancouver hockey fans, was my way of self-reflecting on what had happened and by internally meditating on that through animation.
The first thing that came to mind were the riots. It's like the first part of the video, it shows how everyone cheers for the Olympics and how it's everyone's together and patriotic.
It turned from happy little cartoon to, oh no, he's lighting a cup car on fire.
Human nature is funny, right? It doesn't make any sense. You know, why do people cheer when good things happen, when bad things happen? And so this was kind of a way of sort of showing that, right, in 10 seconds. And the way I did that was sort of creating this kind of monster that comes out of Cole Harbor here, rises up, and then blows fire on the cauldron, lights it up, and everybody standing around the cauldron cheer. But then this sort of misguided kind of serpent sort of blows fire on a cop car, and then everyone cheers, right? So in a way, it's kind of like that little sea serpent is kind of just a sort of a self-reflection of how I kind of saw the city of Vancouver at the time.
It's like a harmless little dragon guy can create a lot of harm. So maybe people will see that in themselves too. So maybe it is a good reminder of what, you know, even innocent people have in them.
An ode to Vancouver hockey fans is playing on video screens at Canada Line platforms until September 30th as part of the 10-second series put together for Vancouver 125. Martin McMahon for BCIT Magazine.
It's no doubt that post-secondary students need to stay connected to the world on a daily basis. And as Casey Pitts finds out, BCIT is providing for anyone needing a connection.
Students on the BCIT campus know technology is necessary to do well in school. But for those who can't afford the equipment, the campus library can lend out a variety of technology to students. Librarians say there's an assortment of laptops, iPod Touches, and even iPads to borrow.
Laptops started years ago just because students were having difficulty sometimes finding a computer to work at. The iPads and the iTouches actually came out of a health sciences initiative. The nursing instructors really wanted the students to be able to have portable devices to work with and to actually take on their clinical rotations.
Health Services instructor Glinda Doyle explains how the department has used the free iPads to their advantage.
Instead of carrying heavy textbooks to the clinical sites, if they have software that we've recommended to them that's authentic and reputable, then they can use that software to access resources in the clinical and the classroom.
But the student body seems to have varying opinions on this program.
Well, I think a lot of students don't have laptops, and so they could come in handy.
If people are maybe downloading inappropriate apps, or if something breaks, how they're going to pay that back.
We always rave about being self-sustainable and you know, trying to recycle and all that. Why not take it to technology?
So whether you need nursing information or just want to read a newspaper, there's an app for that. Casey Pitts in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
To talk more about some new features offered by Apple, we're joined by reporter Braden Oates. Braden?
Thanks, Anita. Apple has come out with some interesting new applications for their products. If you look at the screen behind me, an already slick design has been readily improved. First off, the navigation bar. Android phones have been offering this way of perusing their applications since their inception. Well, now the iOS 5 will finally be caught up to its competition. Another feature is the photos you'll be able to take. They can now be cropped and edited directly on your phone. This will eliminate the chance of getting nasty red eye, as well as ensuring that people can get the exact photo they're looking for. An exterior camera button has also been added as a new feature. Finally, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi syncing is now available on Apple. No longer will you need to hook up to a computer to sync your favorite tunes. It can be done through a wireless connection. Yes, Anita, Apple continues to hook their audience with these new and exciting additions.
Great, thanks for that, Braden. The 9th annual Moon Festival celebrates Vancouver's diverse art, music, and cultural scene. But as Matt Van Deventer found out, the event faced federal funding cuts.
Dan Sadinsky is one of only a few performers involved in this year's Moon Festival. The event showcases local music and art talents found in the Renfrew-Collingwood community. The festival offers a chance for families to experience the many flavors of their community.
Just seeing people that you wouldn't usually see, seeing the talent in the community, myself included. Just bringing people together in general.
This year's Moon Festival is scaled down due to federal budget cuts, but Carmen Rawson is still optimistic.
So we didn't get our Heritage Canada grant this year, and that in the past they've been very generous funders of it, and so it's just very disappointing this year. So we're still making it work with the people. People have really pulled together to make it happen, but it is a somewhat smaller festival because we didn't get that federal funding.
Rawson says that the funding cuts limits the amount of performers they can pay for the festival, but they were not going to let this rain on their parade. A recent tweet from Canadian Heritage Minister James Moore says that the Harper government is the only G8 government to increase funding to the arts during the recession. But Vancouver Kingsway MP Don Davies says this is not true.
Arts and cultural funding generally from all levels of government is critical. I'm seeing evidence all over the place of decreased funding. Every level of government should be encouraged not only to maintain funding but increase it.
For the people here today, there is no denying the importance of community-based festivals.
I think that's really important for their development, to see artists in their element. You know, you get to see the people that make the community rather than the people that just live there.
Matthew Van Deventer in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Vancouverites were lined up by the hundreds with the hopes of wowing the judges at the Canada's Got Talent auditions. I headed down to the Western Bayshore to meet some of the excited participants. Canada's Got Talent arrived in Vancouver this week, and with a lineup spanning around the corner, there was no shortage of performers looking for their chance at fame.
I came here to line up so that I can register him. I'm so happy to see him doing dancing because he's so talented.
Basically, we heard that they were coming to town, and we decided as a group that we should do it and show Canada what we have.
This is the third stop for auditions, and executive producer Ed Robinson is pleased at the variety Vancouver has to offer.
It's been really good. We've had really good turnouts in Winnipeg and Edmonton, so this is our third stop in Vancouver, and we're really thrilled to see how many people here this morning.
From singers to mimes, there was plenty of people out vying for attention, and with such a large turnout, Vancouver is expected to make their presence known during this first season.
People doing different things. So they're warming up their guitars and they're vocalizing, but there's people with hoops and mimes and dance teams, and it's good. It's good. Nice variety for us.
They smiled. They were smiling, which is one of our main goals.
Said we're really entertaining.
Yeah, said we were entertaining, so that's what we came here for.
This lineup began at 2 a.m. with people camping out. Those hopefuls that didn't register online will be in this line till about 4 o'clock, hopeful with their chance to audition for Canada's Got Talent. And it looks like no one's giving up their shot at fame. Anita Stankia in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. If you have any questions or comments, please visit us at bcitbroadcastnews.ca or bcit-broadcast.com. I'm Anita Stankia, and that's today's BCIT Magazine. Thanks for watching.